Welcome to Heaven Payroll with Pastor Keither Florence Sr., a podcast reminding believers everywhere that what you do for God is never in vain. I'm your host, Pastor Florence, and today I would like to begin with a simple but life-changing question. Whose payroll are you really working for? I want you to stop and think about that now. As to each of you that's listening, whose payroll are you really working for? You know, every morning, millions of people wake up to alarms, to schedules, to deadlines. Not only that, to meetings and bills, responsibility, and pressure. And some people are chasing promotions. Some people are chasing approval. Some are chasing survival. And while there's nothing wrong with hard work, I want to make sure you hear that. While there's nothing wrong with hard working, somewhere along the way, many people quietly lose themselves trying to build a life that still leaves them empty. You can have money and still feel bankrupt in your spirit. You could be applauded publicly and still feel exhausted privately. You could climb every ladder this world offers and still wonder why your soul feels tired. And that's really where this podcast began. Because Heaven Payroll is not just about church work. It's about understanding that every act of obedience, every sacrifice, every prayer, every moment of integrity matters to God. In the introduction of my book, I talk about a man named David. David sounds like many of us. David worked tirelessly. David worked long hours. David up under constant pressure, always trying to achieve more. And eventually, he got what many people spend their lives trying to get: success. That's what many people is shooting for, more important than anything else. And eventually, he got it. He got promotions, recognitions, financial growth. But one evening, sitting quietly in his car after another long day, he realized something. What he realized, everything he spent his life chasing still hadn't filled the ache in his soul. That hit me deeply because I think many people listening today understand that feeling. You can be busy but unfulfilled, productive but still spiritually empty, successful but disconnected from purpose. And that's why Jesus said, do not store up treasures on earth, but store up treasures in heaven. Jesus was not, let me say it this way, Jesus wasn't saying work doesn't matter. He was saying eternity matters more. I want to read something to you from the book of Revelation in the 14th chapter, verse 13. It reads, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord, and their works do follow them. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. And their works do follow them. When your life is over, your works follow you. Not your title, not your paycheck, not your social status, not even your followers. Paul said for certain, we take nothing out of this world. We ain't bring nothing in it. We're not taking nothing out. But here's that divine exception. Your works, they follow you. That means heaven keeps records. God sees the hidden sacrifices. God sees the quiet obedience. God sees the unseen prayers, the integrity nobody applauded. God sees the moment where you chose righteousness over convenience. And in a world obsessed with temporary rewards, God reminds us there are eternal rewards. You know what I think? What I think is hurting so many people today. We have confused success with significance. We think being known is the goal. We think visibility equals value. But let me share with you something. Some of the greatest kingdom workers will never trend online. Some of the most faithful people will never hold a microphone. Some of the holiest labor happens in secret. A grandmother praying over her family. A church worker opening the doors every Sunday. A nurse comforting hurting people. A father trying to lead his family with integrity. A volunteer serving quietly. And heaven sees it all. That's why this message matters. Because many faithful people are tired. Tired of feeling overlooked. Tired of giving. Tired of serving. Tired of wondering if their labor still matter. And I came to remind you today, God sees what others overlook. Heaven keeps perfect records. And so how do we get a practical application of what we're talking about? How do we begin to live life differently? Let me offer you a few things. First, we stop working only for earthly applause. Stop working for earthly applause. I like reading the Living Bible, and in that third chapter of Philippians, that third verse, it said, don't work to make good impressions on others. You see, the world teaches, get noticed. The world teaches, get bigger. The world teaches, get richer. The world teaches, get more attention. But the kingdom teaches, be faithful. That changes everything. Second, we begin seeing everyday life as a ministry. Your workplace can become a ministry. Your parenting can become a ministry. Your business can become a ministry. Your service can become worship. And third, we ask ourselves honestly, where is my treasure really located? And that's exactly why I wrote Heaven Payroll. This book was written for faithful workers. I mean, listen, in order to qualify for Christian works, you got to be a Christian. So let me address that. This book was written for faithful Christian workers, for believers trying to stay encouraged, for people who know that there has to be more than temporary success. If this episode encouraged you, I'd encourage you to pick up the book on Amazon and continue this journey with us.
Today's episode is brought to you by the Book Leader. Many pastors, leaders, and everyday people are carrying a story, a testimony, or a message that could encourage someone else, but they don't know where to start. The Book Leader helps first-time and experienced authors turn their ideas into professionally published books without the confusion or overwhelm. From writing support to publishing and launch strategy, they help bring meaningful messages to life. To learn more, visit thebookleader.com.
Now, as we close today, I want to leave you with this thought. Some of the most important work you ever do, and I'm talking about you personally, some of the most important work that you will ever do may never be fully appreciated on earth, but heaven sees it. Heaven sees every prayer. Heaven sees every sacrifice. Heaven sees every act of obedience. Every time you stay faithful when quitting would have been easier, God sees it. And one day, every believer want to hear those words, "Well done, good and faithful servant." That's what I'm living for. And I trust that's what you're living for. That is the reward that we live for. Not temporary applause, not fleeting recognition, but eternal rewards. So this week, work differently, serve differently, live differently. Remember, the world may sign your paycheck, but heaven holds your reward. This has been Heaven's Payroll with Pastor Keither Florence Sr. If this episode encouraged you, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button now and share it with somebody. Leave a review and join us next week as we continue learning what it means to labor with eternity in view. And remember this, God pays the highest wages for labor. This is Pastor Keither Florence reminding you to keep looking up. Keep looking up. Keep looking up, because you can't see God looking down. God bless you. You are dismissed. Go in peace.